We were excited to widen the narrative of the story of our hall, its role in the social reform activity of the 19th century, and the importance of the Black voices as part of that story. The social reform activity that took place in Worcester used the Mechanics Hall stage as its platform, and people came from far and wide to hear the speeches that were made in this space, not only by Frederick Douglass, but also William Lloyd Garrison, who's also represented up there, Henry David Thoreau, Ralph Waldo Emerson, so many others in that time period who were progressive, forward-thinking, innovative, just as the mechanics themselves were in industries. The kernel of the idea happened in 2019 when our incoming president, Stacey Luster, was in a strategic planning committee meeting with the trustees and myself and some people on the staff, and I was talking about commissioning art for the promenade downstairs because it was undergoing a refurbishment. And Stacey said, "I don't think we should be talking about commissioning art until we commission a portrait of Frederick Douglass." We all looked at each other and said, that's a great idea. We sought out knowledgeable voices in the community to help us put this project together.
This project was just like right down my alley. Well, my name is Gloria D. Hall. I'm from Worcester. I am the ideator and co-founder of Art in the Park. Kathleen emailed me and asked if I would like to be involved, and of course I said yes. I had always felt that there was a need to diversify the portraits. It was an opportunity for me to work on something that would help to change that. And for that, I was like, yes.
How do you depict in a singular image all of these things that this man was? And that was one of the challenges. And as many artists are, I'm moved by a challenge. My own experiences as a Black man in this nation certainly plays a role in how I viewed Frederick Douglass as an icon growing up, reading his books as a youngster, as a teenager, as a college student, as a graduate student. Each step up I've gone, I have come to better understand just how much of a hero Frederick Douglass is, just how much of a luminary he is, not just for 19th century, not just for the 20th century, but really for present day. Portraiture can be a tricky thing. It's not just about getting the likeness of somebody. I decided to speak about him in the way that I would, if I were a young man looking at a portrait of him that had never been seen before, how would I be inspired? So I always knew there were going to be either animals or flowers or something in there because nature speaks to me. So I started there, said, I think I'm gonna tell his story with flowers. I wanted those looking at the work to understand that he's a bold icon of his time, but that he was also a human. Other symbols that are significant, I feel, are the books that he's holding. You wouldn't necessarily see books as a symbol, but I was just recalling my days as a student in school, whether that was college or graduate school or even elementary school, and how the holding of multiple books was sort of an indication that you were in the process of studying something. You were reading, you were gaining more knowledge. The question became, which books would he be holding? I decided that he would be holding Barack Obama's The Audacity of Hope. What that does is it breaks him completely out of the 19th century. It barrels him through the 20th century. And it literally enters him into the 21st century. My hope is that when people see this American flag in his hand, it's the first thing we encounter, and then we see him, that there's an understanding of the patriotism that is in the Black American community and how that patriotism has really been shared with African diaspora people who have come from other nations. They see this, and they witness this, and like, this is a lovable nation. We can critique it, we can change it, we can make it better, but this is a lovable nation and it's worth fighting for.
Upon reading Sojourner Truth's life story, just the fact that she had such courage and perseverance to transform her life within her lifetime, went from someone who was an enslaved person to a free woman, but then gained some economic independence. She went on to be this incredible orator, standing up for civil rights and women's rights. So it really drew me. She was the one I wanted to paint. I felt that it would be most impactful to have her standing. From there, wanted to make sure that her pose really lent a kind of dignity to her. There was one debate in my mind of whether I should have her wearing eyeglasses or not, and I thought perhaps showing her with her eyeglasses would sort of also be a nod to her intelligence. I really look for a rhythm from head to toe, being that I placed her arm on her hip and one of her arms on the cane. I sort of look for these arabesques of form, this rhythm, to help her feel that she has a kind of presence and is really standing in the room. I am just beyond thrilled. I'm moved and touched, and to know that I can not only honor a woman in history that I so deeply admire, but also that future generations will be able to enjoy the painting and come visit Mechanics Hall.
The thing about my painting of the Browns, and in this context of all these paintings, is so Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth, they are superstars, and there are lots of images of them. The Browns, there's hardly anything at all. There's only one photo of Martha from shoulders up, and then there are maybe 5 of William, and there are none of them together. I started out online like crazy searching for everything I could find. And then I came to Worcester. The American Antiquarian Society was hosting a poetry reading of Black women responding to the Brown Family Archive. So I was lucky enough to be there. I got to see William's drawings, the quality of his line. I got to see their library. I got to see her commonplace book. The family got on stage and told personal stories. So this completely fleshed it out for me. That was life-changing for this portrait. The enthusiasm that the Goldsberrys had for the project, it was so inspiring for me. It was a living project. I came to the space to see who else my painting was going to live with. And I have in my painting certain references to other paintings, like the red drapery in Abraham Lincoln is in my painting. The blue of Martha's dress is intended to work with the ceiling color. It was a very hard painting. It's very big, and it involved a lot of research, and I needed to know that I had the connection and I could pull it off.
Mechanics Hall is moving into the 21st century, and I'm very, very happy to have been a part of the process and to play the role that I did in making it to happen.
I never tire of walking into the Great Hall, and now it's changed in such a wonderful way.